Prison guards, former inmates, and even deputy wardens from the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York City have confirmed that Diddy is refusing to leave his special housing unit. Allegedly, Diddy is scared that inmates are out to get him.
This jail's conditions, have been described as dirty, notorious for mice, maggots, inmate violence, power outages. You spent 10 years in 11 different facilities, so you know what life is like for him right now. Take us behind the scenes.
I was also at MDC Los Angeles. It's like a cookie cutter of the MDC in New York. So yeah, I do know. But he's sitting in the shoe. He's in the hole. And this guy's going through loneliness, anxiety, desperation. He's on suicide watch. And they hand out like psych meds, like they're M&Ms to these inmates to try to get them to cope with what's going on. So his entire existence is to sit in this little cell, essentially. He can shower 3 times a week. He's not getting any real visits. If his lawyer does a legal visit, they have to come upstairs into the special housing unit to see him. Now, have you seen these reports about all these commissary items? They say that he could buy any of those.
What was one of them? Steak or something?
Ribeye, steak,
yeah.
All kinds of nonsense. He's in the shoe, people. He's in a special housing unit. He cannot buy things off the regular commissary.
Diddy believes that if he gets out of jail, inmates will target him. Interestingly, this isn't the first time something like this has happened at the MDC, and former warden Cameron Lindsay agrees. According to Cameron, there are probably inmates who want to get street cred by taking out Diddy. These people are in there for life, and they don't care if they get charged with an additional murder or 2.
They're going to put some bars of soap in a sock and boom. They're going to pop him over the head and split his head open like a watermelon. They cannot GP him at all. There's a better chance of Jesus appearing in front of us right now than him making general population. He's safe where he is at. There's no reason to move him. And this nonsense about him getting bail, they're never going to give him bail. He wants to go to Essex County, New Jersey, to go to a cushy jail there. Remember, he's not a federal inmate. He's a U.S. Marshal detainee. So they just house him at MDC. And in order to send him to Jersey, they would have to transport him back and forth several times a week with like 6 marshals. They put him in one car, and there'd be a car behind him and a car in front of him. They're not going to do that. So his life essentially at this point is just screwed.
It is not getting good reviews. Not that it should, but it should be basic human rights. And this place has faced intense scrutiny amid a spat of vicious inmates, going after each other badly, complaints about dismal living conditions, including maggot-infested food, filthy cells, power outages. Apparently they go weeks without any sort of heat, which is, not good, especially as the cold rears its head. These apparent conditions were brought to the spotlight during the trial of Maxwell. I can't say the full name, the notorious Madame of Jeffrey, when her attorney ripped the facility up in reprehensible and utterly inappropriate facilities. She complained about using the bathroom, which was an open sewer drain, rats running around, rotten maggot-infested food, freezing temperatures for roughly a week, and an electrical fire caused all the light and heatings to go out in the building. Apparently, violence-plagued federal lockup made headlines when it was hit with the claims that the staff allegedly covered up a knifing at one point.
The management at the MDC isn't all that great either, and in the past, some of the wardens were even found guilty of having covered up the knifing of an inmate. Inmates get maggot-infested food, and heating isn't a concern either. Back in February 2019, it was revealed that hundreds of inmates were being kept in freezing cells without any heating or blankets. It was only after several inmates died that the management took notice.
The conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some of the bench have even moved away from sending non-violent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband.
No jail or prison is expected to be a 5-star hotel, we know that, but it's not supposed to be a house of horrors either.
Yeah, the troubled and violent Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn housing Sean Diddy Combs raided by the feds today. They're investigating poor conditions, rampant drug smuggling, mounting violence, and repeated inmate deaths.
Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles live at the scene in Sunset Park with what's really going on with Darla.
Well, Bill, the Bureau of Prisons will only say this is an interagency operation to maintain a safe environment, but sources tell ABC News that inmates are not the target, and attorneys who've been seeing clients here for years say the timing is very curious.
There are even rumors that Diddy's recent hospital visit has something to do with him getting injured. Did Diddy fake his injury to stay in his special housing unit? Or is there something more to the story? The MDC is a vicious place, and several videos of inmates getting stabbed and added act. There have gone viral. Violent criminals are kept with white-collar ones, and everyone knows that pedos don't last in any jail.
Unfolded in about 15 seconds. MDC surveillance video shows Isaiah Garcia approach Christopher Byers on the top level of their jail pod with a hand inside his uniform. Garcia uses that same hand to stab Byers more than 20 times with a broken off top of a mop or broom handle he reportedly sharpened to use as a shank. Another camera angle shows one officer respond within seconds. According to the criminal complaint, she hits Garcia with pepper spray. She reportedly follows him to his cell to handcuff him as he was trying to flush the shank. Meanwhile, a handful of officers escort Byers out of the pod as he is clearly bleeding from the neck onto the stairs and the floor. Other camera angles show many more officers tend to Byers in the hallway before he's sent to the hospital.
Officer Downing was the supervisor inside an MDC pod in November when 2 inmates asked the guard to open a cell door to give another inmate some soup. After letting them in, Downing left his post to go check out what he thought was a fight inside that cell.
When he arrived at the cell, another inmate attacked him.
MDC says Jose Estrada threw that first punch, then tried to yank the officer's radio from his hip to keep him from calling for help.
Several inmates came from behind him to also attack him.
The corrections officer then had to run the gauntlet to get through that group of inmates, all of whom were throwing punches.
They wanted to assault an officer.
Officer Downing managed to escape with just some minor injuries, including some bruising to his face.
Diddy's recent hospital visit is especially suspicious. Consider this: Diddy is taken out of one of the hardest jails to get out of in the middle of the night. The number of marshals assigned to him is also lower than normal, and the procedure he is going for isn't even that important. Diddy gets out of prison, and a few weeks later the case against Jay-Z and him is dropped because allegedly the victim changed her mind.
Why does he get the cover of darkness? Why does he get taken out? Because he needs an aspirin. Help me, Dr. Hendricks.
Well, I'll tell you, each inmate gets a physical within 14 days of their arrival at any facility, and I'm sure, based on reports of him having several knee surgeries throughout the years after being a marathoner back in 2003. So this may have been in the works in terms of getting him out for an MRI, because I know that they don't have that equipment at the institution. And I'll just tell you this, they probably had set this appointment up months, maybe weeks ago, and they set it up for the evening.
To leave at 1 a.m. in the cover of darkness? Okay, you think that's what they set up, Hendricks? Look, I know you're being loyal to MDC, but can we get real? Leaving MDC because your knee hurts? Have you seen that POC?
MRIs and x-rays and things of that nature. They're on a normal work schedule, between, the normal business hours of maybe 10 o'clock and maybe 6 p.m. So in that case, this was a little bit different, getting him outside the facility in the late evening hours to do just, possibly a basic MRI.
Yeah, I was thinking about the timelines too, because I don't ever recall going to the doctor at 10 p.m. at night. As you said, it's usually 9 to 5, 10 to 6 kind of vibes. But for P. Diddy, I can kind of understand why it was at 10 p.m. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking they decided to do this because he's such a high-profile name that they wouldn't want to draw attention to it. I mean, this is an unassuming Thursday night around 10 p.m. Could that be why they decided then to go to the hospital?
Yes, and also for a couple of reasons. Staff. Many correctional agencies are short-staffed, so we're taking someone out with this high-profile person such as P. Diddy. Just the nature of who he is going to cause a serious security concern, because you're going to need to be able to stave off onlookers, fans, media, and the like. And then you also got to think about the security of the hospital and their operations. People there to try to get better, families there to visit their loved ones, and the last thing you need is somewhat, a chaotic environment that's causing concern with security.
Did Diddy threaten the victim while he was out of jail, and if yes, then what did he say to her? Diddy has already been caught trying to call witnesses. Through the payons at the prison, his family was helping him contact and threaten these witnesses, and that's what caused his bail get denied.
Details this morning in the second case against Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors now claiming that from behind bars, Combs has been trying to reach out to victims and possible witnesses. And ABC's Phil Lipoff is here now with this story. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Gio. Diddy's lawyers trying for a third time to get him out on bail, but this time, the prosecution telling the judge about attempts they say the rap mogul made from behind bars to influence everyone from potential jury to alleged victims.
Who's the boss? Dudes is lost. Don't pay cause I'm iced out. I'm a cool off.
This morning, prosecutors leveling new accusations against Sean Diddy Combs, saying he poses a serious risk of danger even from behind bars as he awaits trial. In a court filing late Friday, prosecutors detailing the steps they say Combs is taking while locked up to reach out to prospective witnesses and influence public opinion to affect potential jurors.
The accusations within the prosecution's motion to deny bail are very serious and will be considered very heavily by the judge, because the judge is going to want to ensure that he is not influencing witnesses and or contacting anyone to influence the trial in any way.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, and sex trafficking. He denies any wrongdoing. The government now asking the judge not to grant Combs' third request for bail, in which the music mogul offers a $50 million bail package, citing new evidence and changed circumstances.
Then last Friday evening, Tony Buzbee filed to dismiss this lawsuit with prejudice. Dismissing a lawsuit with prejudice means it will not, and more importantly, it means it cannot be refiled. Jay-Z said in a statement, "Today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. This civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere. The fictional tale they created was laughable, if not for the seriousness of the claims. I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed. This 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed." Sean Combs also had something to say about Buzbee dismissing the suit. Today's complete dismissal without a settlement by the 1-800 attorney is yet another confirmation that these lawsuits are built on falsehoods, not facts. For months, we have seen case after case filed by individuals hiding behind anonymity, pushed forward by an attorney more focused on media headlines than legal merit. Just like this claim, the others will fall apart because there is no truth to them.
Keep in mind that this case was dismissed even after the victim had video footage and voice memos of Jay-Z's legal team trying to harass victims. Jay-Z's lawyers would show up at the houses of victims and pretend that they were federal agents at times. Diddy's lawyers even flashed fake FBI badges and offered as much as $10,000 to the witnesses and victims to lie on the stand.
Now in a new lawsuit, a Texas man is claiming Jay-Z's lawyers are bribing people to sue Buzbee and his law firm. This 13-page lawsuit was filed on January 3rd in Harris County, Texas, and the plaintiff in the filing is being represented by none other than Buzbee's law firm, who filed the suit on his behalf. Now Jose Maldonado, who is the plaintiff in this suit, is suing Jay-Z's attorneys and his company Rock Nation, but not Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z himself. According to the lawsuit, the defendants in this suit are Marcy Bryant Croft, the law firm MJ Legal, Rock Nation, and the law firm who is representing Jay-Z, Lynn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan. They allege the defendants conspired to obstruct justice by engaging in shadowy operatives to illegally get more than 24 current and former clients of Busby's law firm to turn around and sue them. The suit claims Rock Nation is financing this alleged effort, while attorneys Marcy Croft and the law firm Quinn Emanuel are orchestrating this whole thing. According to the suit, the defendants' agents were pretending to work for the state of Texas and allegedly flashed fake badges.
This can really go one of two ways. It might be an isolated one-off case that he has to defend, or potentially it could be a Me Too type situation where other victims come forward. Obviously, we saw that with Diddy and Cassie Ventura. So the coming days and weeks are really going to be telling. And Tony Busby says there's more than 100, maybe up to 300 victims he's representing. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of them also name Jay-Z.
And if such a high-profile name like Jay-Z has come out, could more celebrity names be tied to these lawsuits? What do you think we can expect?
No question. This may just be the first celebrity domino, and Jay-Z was unmasked as celebrity A, but let's not forget there's a celebrity B in that same lawsuit that allegedly witnessed the sexual assault, the female celebrity. And there was someone who went on CNN earlier this week and said that his sexual assault was witnessed by another celebrity as well. So I think we're going to see more celebrity names identified very soon.
All right, Nima Rani, thank you so much for joining us. As you said, this is one that has entered the court of public opinion. It's nice to have your actual legal advice on this.
After the lawsuit was dismissed against Diddy, several more were filed, including one that had details of the sex trafficker that Diddy used to source girls. Shockingly, Lil Rod's lawsuit also mentioned the same sex traffic, but in his lawsuit he mentioned that the person actually dealing with these guys was none other than Diddy's son.
Right off the top, Busby is making sure, again, he's representing her, making sure that the court knows just how horrific these allegations are, because it reads, quote, defendant Sean Combs paid a number of sex traffickers to provide underage girls, including plaintiffs, to be used for the sexual gratification of himself and his friends at a party in Miami. Defendant Combs' arranging of these girls for sex led to plaintiffs suffering approximately 20 separate instances of sexual assault at the party. This case seeks compensatory and punitive damages on behalf of this young victim of sex trafficking. Compensatory damages are those that can restore a plaintiff try to do so. Punitive damages are a way to punish the defendant or defendants for really bad, egregious behavior. Now, it's interesting that an alleged sex trafficking victim is coming forward, as Combs faces himself federal sex trafficking allegations, criminal charges for allegedly forcing people to participate in sex acts with commercial sex workers for his own gratification. In or around 2020, when Doe was 15 years old, her trafficker, known to Doe only by the nickname he used around herself and the other girls, took Doe and one or more other girls to Miami, Florida. In Miami, the plaintiff was taken to a large building similar to a warehouse. The host, whom Doe eventually learned was defendant Combs, was hosting a large party in the building. It quickly became apparent that the purpose of the party was sex. Defendant Combs had arranged and paid for Doe and other girls being trafficked through numerous pimps to be brought to the party. At the party, Combs made them available for sex. Doe recalls that Combs made an announcement to his guests and then made a toast to start the party. Doe, who had been given drugs for this event to keep her controlled and somewhat sedated, was taken to a curtained-off area with red and dark blue or black lights containing a bed in the middle. Over the next several hours, Doe was forced to have sex with approximately 20 different men, all guests of Combs, one after another. The curtained area in which Doe was confined was next to another curtained-off area with another bed, which Doe could see through the curtain. Doe saw Combs having sex with a Latina girl whom Doe estimated to be 12 or 13 years old, and who had been in the same traffic group as Doe for no more than a few weeks. Doe could not see where that girl was taken after Combs was finished with her.
I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility, and I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable. Nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused, he has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail. and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process but wherever he is, his resolve is the same he believes is innocent I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer with all the mounting allegations, legal troubles, and his struggles in prison. It's clear that Diddy's downfall is far from over, from refusing to leave his cell out of fear to the shocking claims that continue to surface. His story is becoming more twisted by the day. Is he truly a victim of a targeted takedown, or is justice finally catching up to him? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye, dear.